G'day everyone. Pretty tough day at the office for the boys. Just going to record this and it'll go up on the channel, just giving you my early thoughts straight after the game. But we lost 26-8. It was 14-0 at half time. Could have easily been 40. Now, people are going to talk about, you got to have, if you aim for mediocrity, you lose and all this sort of shit, which is, well, true enough. And I just want to say, I thought the commentary was quite good for the majority of the game. Alexander and Voss, though, once they started talking about, the lack of the use of Stephen Crichton and being really critical of our attack when the game was on the line. Yes, I think there's lessons to be learnt there. Was it perfect? No. The fact is they had literally nothing left to offer. And I don't care which team it was, when you have defended that many tackles for that part of the game, you're just not gonna have it in you to have shape. And the fact, Kurt Mann probably takes that hit up on the fourth. I felt Kurt Mann played really well. I think sometimes the service is a bit slow in them wraparound plays, but honestly, they were gassed for a long time in that game. And the fact that they forced some errors, although they're pretty much unforced errors by the Eels, we defended with vigour. There was some great try-saving tackles. I want to commend. I want to give great shout out to players like Drew Hutchison. I felt defensively he was magnificent tonight. Jamin Salmon tried really hard. I know they had that try they let in, which was really the only sort of try that was scored from, through a line break. It was 4 tries to 2 in the end. And when they start criticising our attack, when we just did not have the ball in any field position at all to do anything in attack, and when we did, we made an error once. But basically, I think we had luckily, if we had 4 or 5 sets in the whole match, even in their half, in an attacking position. And if that's the case, we've scored 2 tries. So that's not a bad strike rate. And the amount of times we repelled that Parramatta attack. And look, they look slick at different times. Look, I even thought someone might have to tell me that I need to go recheck the rules. But even Bryce Cartwright's try, I know his body's over the line, but both his elbows carrying the football hit the ground, and then he rolls over and scores. Now, is it momentum, or he had people on him? Like, I'm pretty sure once the ball's planted, you can't roll over. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just one-eyed and just having a brain spasm. I just felt that the boys, there wasn't much more they could do. That forward pack's very good that they were playing against. I felt we defended Campbell Gillard and Offengawi very well early. We contained a lot of their offloads early. It was hard once they started getting second phase play. But the boys matched up on the edges really well. I felt the edge defence was much improved, and both sides needed to commend it. I felt that Crichton and Burton and kick out defensively, I felt was great. Put on some massive hits. My issues in the game, Marnie went for 2 40-20s when we just were better off rucking it again and kicking deep and trying to force the error. I know he's trying to make something happen and we're behind, but when you haven't had possession for so long, you can't just give it away so freely when you need the football. And I just felt that that's the issue. Blake Taft, the first set of the game, he was, they had 4 sets of hands on the ball and they've set it free. They did the same thing to kick out. You had Sam Hughes when they had that try repealed in the end, but he bloody, they got the ball off him and then they ended up scoring through Cartwright anyway. And then there was that try they scored right at the death when, we're looking to make a try break. We're looking to get a try at the end there. I just don't. Salmon struggled in the centres. Just doesn't have the speed, and he had a tough day out there. But I felt I enjoyed a lot of stuff that he did early, and I felt that he defended hard and tough. Carraz, 100% effort. He's not right there yet, but I think that hit out will do him the world of good. I thought Blake Wilson did pretty well. And opposition teams are coming for Blake. They know what he can do. They've been watching him. And I felt that the Parramatta really did a bit of a job on the likes of Wilson. The Fox obviously got injured early and couldn't do much. So, look, for people who want to attack our attack and attack Burton and attack Hutchison and whoever else, I don't think they know really what they're talking about. And this is a live, so I can't take that back. But what else are they supposed to do other than to just kick long when they're only getting to the 40-metre line? They're being dominated through the middle. I felt we were willing, and when we were able to create get a couple of opportunities, we nailed them. And that tells me a lot about this side, that they were still in that game, fighting for that game until the last 3 minutes. When they had no possession, when the opposition team had 150 more runs with the ball or something. The fact we ended up making nearly 1,000 metres and they made 1,500. Now, whilst the tail of the tape is that's not going to get it done, obviously it's not. And we were dominated. But the fact we were still in there fighting, repelling them, shows a lot about the character of this team. We will see how good the character is, though, when we get deeper into the season and there's a few injuries and that sort of thing. All I know is that people who wanted other people in the side, I think the coach was sort of justified in a lot of his selections. And I think we will see changes. I think the likes of Toby Sexton and Bronson Cherry will make their way into that Bulldog side eventually. But I was actually quite impressed with the defensive efforts of every player out there. They all did their job. And, there was a lot of hard work being done by the team. Now, I just think that, I don't have an issue with Stephen Crichton's game. And that in a game like that, that's the return you're going to get. But I felt he was really good defensively. I felt there was lots of they really nullified a lot of attacking opportunities by Parramatta. And what annoys me is the commentators just go to saying, that the attack of Parra wasn't that good. Well, I think you just have to say that the Canterbury defence was just a lot better than what it's been. And it is round one, and teams do sometimes struggle to get to get everything right. They have to adjust to the way teams are going. They've got less. Round one, it's hard to blow a team off the paddock. And look, if we give that possession in round 15 against the Eels like that, they will put 40 on us. But that's just the way it is, But I do believe the fact it was 4 tries to 2, it was 3 tries to 2 when we were making a last-ditch effort, and that's something that I think the guys can take a lot away from that. I think the young fellas learned a lot in New South Wales Cup today. The Parramatta side had quite a lot of good players in it with NRL experience as well. And our juniors that are looking to come through the system really, had to fight hard and show resilience, which I was really happy about. The fact that they were able to get away with that win says a lot, but obviously that's not going to cut it. So the tale of the tape for me is that the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs showed me that defensively on both edges, they're off to a pretty good start. And the attack was not too bad at all, considering the amount of possession that they had it with good ball opportunity. Like, they just had none. And we saw what happened when a couple of knock-ons from Parramatta who completed 40 out of 44 sets. 40 out of 44 sets. And they've won 4 tries to 2 with a try off a kick, which, 2 of their kicks was just so long. Just could have easily just gone out. And then there was that one off the end off that intercept. They got the one through Bryce Cartwright, and then there was that other one where we were just defending our line too much. But I don't know how many times the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs repelled the Eels. And there was games last year where, over the last 5 years, I think I've seen maybe 2 games where we've defended our line that well. And the conditions were, I think, wet. So, which means that, it's sort of a little bit easier to defend your line when it's wet. But when it's a fairly dry track, even though it would have been hot and humid there, which made it difficult, the fact the Eels were able to complete 40 out of 44 showed that they were just ready to go. I was worried about the game because of the way that they played in the trials, and I felt they deliberately tried to grind with us early, and then they let us have it once we got tired. That was their game plan, and they followed it through. But our guys were just gritty. And if anyone says they're not gritty, I don't know what they're on. So if people want to get there on their high horse and start saying this isn't good enough and rah, 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 and it's all going to be shit, you've got to learn how it works. When we're already down possession, we've made a couple of errors, which happens, a couple of individual errors or 50-50 errors, really. Because in some games, hands all over the ball comes free, the ref just calls it a penalty, and then other times they call it a knock-on. In our case, they were called knock-on every single time, so we got none of those calls. The ball comes out, they just call it a knock-on. And I suppose that's happening a little bit more now because they're giving teams the opportunity to basically, challenge the call and stuff. But yeah, Parramatta did really well by getting 4 men in the tackle sometimes and just getting so many hands on the football and pulling arms different ways. Like they were good at that, and we coughed up some possession because of it. I think we could have got a penalty in a couple of those instances, and if we had, things may have been a little bit different. Because when you've already, then we were just under fatigue, defending set after set. But as I said, they were gritty as hell. They tried their best, and they're playing a side which I felt just had ascendancy in most areas in the park. I felt our backline showed that when it got an opportunity, it could score points. Really enjoyed that try to Wilson in the right corner. Um, the good, the thing is, in part, when we had Flanagan out there on the right, he just could not take the ball that extra step to the line. And what I've liked about all of our halves play, and I saw it today, like on repeat, Bailey beyond Diodo in the New South Wales Cup game, running to the line, getting hit in the back as he's given the ball to Joash Papali'i, who just gives the perfect pass at the perfect time to Jarrell Skelton, and he goes and scores. That was the exact same thing we saw from Hutchison, from Mann to Hutchison onto Blake Taff, and he put the ball into Wilson's hands, and it was shut the gate. There's nothing wrong with that attack. That almost looked to me sort of like old Wayne Bennett Broncos type plays where they just used to score every time. They would just take it down the left or the right edge, and the fullback could just have so many decisions they could make. They give it away early, the winger scores. If the defender overcommits and runs to the winger, they just dummy and go over themselves. Like it's it's good to see us nail those sort of things. That means the reps with the attack have been working. But I just felt to score 2 tries from only 4 or 5 sets in that position on the field in a whole match isn't a bad return. So I'm not too worried about our attack. I'm a little bit worried about the issue that we all know is that we just struggle to make that yardage, and when you don't make that yardage, you've got to play one-dimensional football, or they've got to take risks. And when they take risks, when they've already dropped balls and they're trying to get back into the grind and get into the game, they take risks and drop the ball again. Well, what happens? Then they're under pressure for another 3 sets against the team that's holding the footy. So I think the fans should be proud of the way the boys stuck together and the way they defended their line. I certainly am. I felt all the players on the field contributed and showed a lot of guts. And I wouldn't be critical of any of the halves. I wouldn't be critical of any of the spine, really. Marnie, to me, needs to not kick the fucking football on the 4th when we just haven't had possession. I know it's positive play, and when it works out, it's great. But he got 4 really early in the season last year, and then didn't get any for the last 15, 16 rounds. So he basically hasn't hit one for ages. So I think he needs to put it away, and and keep it for when things are at a different part of the game, not when we're chasing the game so much. But it's easy for me to say that. I felt Burton played a control game, defended well, and was sort of, and Hutchison, when we got some possession, I felt he ran the ball well. Probably one pass I wasn't happy with. But yeah, overall, there's not much I can say negatively that's negative about the way that they stuck in there and ground out that game. And the very fact that they were still in that game and a chance to score a try with 3 minutes to go. Burton kicks those goals. It's a little bit different, at 20-12 with 7 or 8 minutes left. But honestly, that they were gassed by that point, and that's why they couldn't get any shape going. And when they did, the pass went to ground and Parra ran away and scored. So that was a nail in the coffin, but yeah, it's disappointing. I felt we were a lot, the first game against Manly last year, I felt we were a lot more off the pace, just as far as the combinations went. And Manly stuffed up a lot of things, they made a lot of errors in that game too. But, yeah, round 2 against the Sharks, it's not going to get any easier. It's going to be tough. Same sort of issues. You got cohesive, strong players in their back line, and you've got a forward pack that it really means business and knows what it's doing. So hopefully it hasn't taken too much out of them. We get a good break into the next game as well, and I really hope that they can, with 10 minutes to go, be still in that game. Hopefully have a lot more possession, have a lot more energy to do something at the end of it. That would be nice. But in other results, we smashed the Sharks in Jersey. I think we played them in Jersey Flag as well. But so we got a win there. We smashed them in Harold Matts. We smashed them in SG Ball. So those guys are back on track now to make the finals. Mitch Woods and Seve and the like, and a bunch of others. The juniors are looking great. New South Wales Cup, as I said, that resilience to get that win somehow when the opposition were running roughshod. But that opposition exposed some real weaknesses in our team, and other teams will be looking to exploit that. So we've got to fix that up. So a lot of these, and I want to see the likes of the Sextons and the Joash Papalis and that really take huge steps forward over the next few weeks. I know Toby missed a few tackles. I felt the talk and the communication just didn't seem to be there from what I could see, but you can't always judge that. And but I really liked what happened when Jordan Samrani come on the field and Bailey Haywood. And that's the good thing about Haywood as a player that can come on and add impact. And he defended really well too, made some important tackles, some really important tackles, tackling off a Hiki Ogden and Makatoa and the like, some big boys. So, yeah, that was a good effort by them. I felt Bailey Biondi-Odo played well. It's just one of those games, too many line breaks, too many missed tackles by both sides. Well, the missed tackles weren't that high because the teams were making line breaks and weren't getting a hand on the opposition. And I felt Canterbury, the fact today that we didn't miss that many tackles, considering the amount of tackles we had to make, percentage was a lot better than it's been for a long time. And I think the boys can take some confidence that if they can just hold the bloody football, get some luck, they may, they should be able to, put themselves in the match and be a chance at winning it. Because we've still got strike. Looks like we won't have the Fox for a long time. That's an AC joint. But that means hopefully Bronson Cherry comes into the side. I've got a feeling, though, they'll put Connor Tracy in. They'll bring Connor Tracy into the centre. They'll move Jacob Carraz onto the wing. Or vice versa. Or do they keep Carraz in the centres and bring Jarrell Skelton up? That will be the question, but I would suggest that Connor Tracy will be brought into that first grade side as the replacement for the Fox. And the Bronson Cherry Brigade might have to wait a little bit longer. I felt he did a good job today in New South Wales Cup as well. Anyway, guys, that's my thoughts. let's get behind the boys. I felt that they tried their asses off. They, and there's lots to be proud of. You know, there is lots to be proud of in that match, in the way that they defended. And I think those players like the Hutchisons, the Kurtmans, the Salmons are going to make a difference to our side. And I think they're going to bring the best out of players like the Toby Sextons, the Bailey Biondiotos, the Bailey Haywoods, and the Josh Papalis, or Papalis, sorry, because they're going to really set a standard that's going to drive those players to perform really well, to knock them, to get to, bang that down that door, is what I like to say. All right, guys, take care and have a good day. Adrian Barnes was tough to watch. Must admit, I'm over the Panthers' attacking structure we're trying to adopt for years now. So I'll put that on the screen. Mate, I would suggest that most attacking structures are pretty much the same across the competition. But I watched the footy. It seems that the game has become pretty one-dimensional. And as I said, we only had a couple of attacking sets. The game plan, I do get your point. The game plan is to have the back five try and make as many metres as they can, the forwards to tackle their ass off, and then just to kick the ball deep and try and win the battle with your defence. And I felt defensively we were a lot better, even in the ruck. They weren't rolling us in the ruck. Obviously with the amount of possession they got, they started to build up some metres, but I felt they were better at defending our momentum, and that's the issue for us. But I felt, handled them quite well. I expected a lot worse, to be honest. But yeah, I just think that's just my opinion, Adrian. I appreciate your comment. I'm happy that you're here having a chat. I just think that it's easy to just put things into, we're trying to play like Penrith, or we're trying to do this or trying to do that. It just is. It's a game structure that works, is proven to work. And, you talk about Burton. He did some magnificent kicks in that game. Same with Mitchell Moses before he did his groin. They've got to. We've got a side there that can do some damage. Couple of good props makes a huge difference for us, and maybe just and a player like Hutchison, Sexton, Bailey Hayward coming through. Once they get those miles in their legs and get that cohesion going, they're going to be able to do some damage. I can feel it. I can see it. And to have a great day with junior results was fantastic. In the first grade side, it was difficult to watch, but God, they fought it out to the end, and they really had a crack at trying to get that. They did not give up, and that's one thing that we can be proud of. Parramatta were pretty buggered after that game, and they, had all the ball. So I'm pretty sure our boys hit them hard and put some bruises on those Parra boys, and that's exactly what we need to see more of. Anyway, guys, I hope you thanks for coming and having a listen and having a chat. I'll keep raving on, but I hate fucking losing. But I'm always going to defend the boys that wear the blue and the white. Not out here to fucking sit there and attack players and try and pretend I'm better than the fucking coach. We've got the coach we've got, and he's got players want to play for him. I know that for a fact. And we'll see how he goes over the long term. Because he'll be here a while, I can tell you that now.